And as you start developing, you can see we'll start having endoderm, ectoderm, and then mesoderm. And we went through all this last time. Like, for example, the mesoderm is the muscular part, endoderm, lining of the digestive system and all that. And then the ectoderm, your nervous system, sensory organ, things like that. And here's a breakdown of the chart. How are we fueling all the growth and development? Okay. Later on, the placenta will take over and start feeding the embryo. So in the first week, it is the endometrial glands and blood. Week 4 to 12, developing of the placenta will take over the feeding and all that. Placenta is a temporary organ. Okay, because when you give birth, it's going to come out as well. It's a temporary organ, part of mom and part of baby, allow for exchange of nutrient and waste. Okay, there's no direct contact between blood. Okay, nutrients diffuse from mother to umbilical vein, and the waste is removed from the umbilical arteries. Now here, you can see the umbilical vein nutrient is diffused through the umbilical vein, and the waste is removed from the arteries. Okay, so you would think arteries will carry rich nutrient and all that. Okay, and the veins will carry all the waste product, but in this case, it is not. Same as the heart. Okay, same as the heart. So here we still don't have a placenta yet, okay? The mom part is the endometrium, okay, embryonic part. We'll start developing something called the chorionic villi, okay, into the endometrium. So here they are, start developing like a finger-like projection. It facilitates again for exchange of nutrient and gases. The chorionic villi will merge with the uterine tissue and will start forming the placenta. Okay, so this is not, the placenta is not formed yet. Okay. Oh, we saw this already. Here is the meanwhile migration of the cells. 4 weeks or so, developing the tube, the neural tube. So this is where this right here, beginning with the primitive streak. Okay, and it will start doing the fold. Okay, start doing the tube and the fold and all that. It will fold in. Okay, and that's how the baby is start developing the brain in the 4th and 5th week. And remember, we saw the diencephalon, encephalon, and all that. So here's a picture of how it starts folding. Okay, and here's a yolk sac, and it will surround it, and then this is a transfer segment, cutting it in half. Development part of the yolk sac and creates a primitive gut lining by the endoderm. The amniotic sac, which is on top of the flat embryo, surrounds it as it folds. Organs start to appear from the 3 layers. Organogenesis. We saw this before, like CNS. The heart starts as a tube. It'll start beating in the 4th and 5th week. Okay, liver will start producing. All the by 7 and 8 weeks, facial features, eyes, everything is already in place by 8 weeks. So that is all the embryonic stage. So embryonic stage, the end of embryonic stage is the 8 weeks. Remember, fetal stage will start at the 9th week, where everything is already in place. Growth rapidly. Ossification centers start appearing. We remember the ossification center and start with cartilage and then will turn into bones. So boy or girl, okay? Week 9 to 12, then you'll be able to tell whether it's a boy or a girl. So in the beginning, we all start out looking the same. That's why we can't tell whether which gender it is. Then the male will have something called the Mullerian duct, will degenerate, okay? And the oophoring will become the vas deferens. So the opposite for the male, for the female, okay? Female, it's got the XX chromosome, gonads become ovaries, the Wolffian duct will degenerate while the Mullerian duct become the uterine tube and the uterus. Fetal blood in circulation. Oxygen nutrient comes from mom via the umbilical vein. Okay. Since mom makes the changes to the blood, fetus needs to circulate it 3 shunts. So in the beginning, everything is all circulated together. They're mixed together. Later on, as you're born, then it will close up one of the foramen, which is the foramen ovale we saw here when we study the heart. And don't forget the lungs are still non-functional. So this will not be tested. Full term is about 270 days. There's going to be, of course, enlargement of the uterus, amniotic fluid, breast and placenta, enlargement and weight gain. Maternal changes. In the first 10 weeks, the corpus lucidum secrete estrogen and progesterone, okay, and relaxin. Remember the beginning. After this, the placenta will take over. And this is just a important, but a review that we already talked about. Don't forget the progesterone, maintain the baby in there. Because it inhibits uterine contraction to push the baby out. Anterior pituitary will increase thyrotropin, prolactin, ACTH will increase metabolism, prepare for breast, and drive the fetal protein synthesis. Changes in organs, digestive, you'll feel nausea. It's related to hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and HCG. Decreased motility, also leads to constipation. You remember the uterine is growing so big, it will displace the abdominal organ. It will cause frequent urination and all that. Circulation, increased blood volume, blood pressure, heart rate. It's compressing the pelvic vessel, leads to some hemorrhoids. Respiratory, more oxygen is needed to increase metabolism. Okay. Integumentary, dermis will start stretching. You get darker skin, color, and all that. So around the 8th month, fetal cortisol rises to boost estrogen. Estrogen will continue to rise. Progesterone will decline, so ratio of estrogen progesterone increase. The sensitive myometrium, you can see the estrogen and progesterone slowly decline. Now this is HCG. HCG will continue to stay there, okay, but it will start declining. But it will continue for survival of the corpus lucidum. Okay, it also makes makes the testosterone for the male fetus. Okay, stages of childbirth, cervical dilation, 10 centimeter So the cervix has to dilate. Okay, it has to open up. Okay, about 10 centimeters. Usually they'll insert their fingers in there to test the diameter of the cervix. And as the baby comes out, sometimes you can see it's called crowning, where you can see the baby's hair and all that. Uterine contraction will stretch the cervix and more oxytocin is released. Expulsion start as fetus head enters the vagina, ends with freedom. Aspire mucus with the nose and mouth and clamp the umbilical cord. So after the baby comes out, clamp the umbilical cord. Some people will wait until there's no more heartbeat is felt on the umbilical cord before cutting it. Otherwise, it might be too traumatic for the baby. After birth, then you wait a little bit, then the placenta will come out. Remember, this is a temporary organ. Mark the beginning of the postpartum. 6-week lochia for a few weeks. Lochia is more vaginal discharge after labor. There might be some leftover debris. Birth is stress, crisis for the fetus. It's normal for it to squeeze through the vagina with interrupted with oxygen. It's the new world cold. Okay, so when it squeezed through here, it actually squeezed the respiratory center of the neck. But a lot of time with C-section, it doesn't come out like that. And then again, they have to hit the baby, well, not hit the baby, spank the baby for it to start breathing, and also because of the buildup of carbon dioxide. Okay, we went through this last time. The circulation with the collapse of the umbilicus, okay, the foramen ovale will start closing. The ductus arteriole, consists with oxygen, will change into aorta. Okay, this will close. See all this? So, with thermal regulation, GI and urine, maintain the body heat is the problem. So children have something called the brown fat, which is right here. They do have brown fat, which is easily broken down to produce more heat. The fetal intestine is sterile. Colonization is critical after birth. Kidney works, but not efficient. Concentrate urine, which is another reason why they need to be well hydrated. Lactation, stimulated by suckling of the infant. So once they start drinking the milk, you'll start creating that flora. Remember I told you the intestine is sterile. The flora will start colonizing. The suckling causes the anterior pituitary to then release some prolactin,